everybody. We're back with a new episode of Hello, I'm Not Listening.
Bye.
Yeah.
No, we're back with Hello, I'm Listening.
Yeah, we're back. Last week's episode was a little special because we didn't put out one.
We didn't host it.
Our friend podcast called
Meet Me at the Table.
Meet Me at the Table. Thanks. I totally just dropped the name. Good promotion. Invited us for an episode on their podcast.
Yep.
And we basically featured their episode on our podcast. So if you have not listened to it, listen to it. It's a very fun, interesting, and thought-provoking.
And fun fact that we actually somehow didn't mention in that episode, Steven, who's one of the hosts of that podcast, he and I have known each other since we were 7, maybe.
And you didn't know when we were recording?
What?
You didn't know when we were recording that you knew him?
Yeah, but we didn't mention it in the episode. But I was homeschooled until 3rd grade, and then 3rd grade
because she was
when I lived in Maryland. When I lived in Maryland, my brother and I went to a private school, and for 1 year before we moved to Wisconsin, and that's where I met Steven. He was in my class, and that's where I met Hannah, who is his wife. She was also in my class, and she was one of my best friends, and we're all still buddies.
Ollie and Sebastian are sitting at the...
You know, this podcast is called Hello, I'm Listening, and as I'm talking, you're talking to the rats.
But they're just sitting at the door wanting to come out.
That's sad for them.
No, you knew them for a long time. And fact, I mean, we talked about it. It's
really good active listening.
We talked about it. Hey, I know the story and I listened. But we also mentioned that in the episode we were on with them, that he and Hannah, so Steven and Hannah were on our podcast. Hannah. God damn it, woman. Hannah, we're on our podcast, I think, like one of the early episodes.
Yeah.
Which was weird because we were talking about like the first lockdown, like worldwide shutdown and COVID and the situation, which might be an interesting episode to revisit now. After
that's when our podcast was called Translating Love.
Right. So, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about success.
And what it means. And what it means. Can mean.
What it should mean.
Should mean.
What it shouldn't mean.
Right. Let's give a little backstory why we're talking about, or why are we talking about this today, maybe. So, I have a little problem with drugs. No, kidding. That would be funny, right?
I wouldn't say that would be funny.
No, but like saying it like that. No, but my business is running well, but with the current economy and, you know, there are ups and downs, and currently there's like a little down. So, you know, you start questioning yourself, your abilities, your future in terms of business and your success. And yeah, interestingly, that also somehow relates to one of the latest episodes we did about social media, comparing yourself and stuff like that. And because that plays in it too. So basically when you have too much time, then all of a sudden you know, keep going on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and see people who are either self-employed or do similar stuff that I do working. Therefore, I keep comparing myself to them or to what they do and where they stand in their life, which is completely stupid because what does it bring me? And it's their life. They're at a different stage in their life and I'm at a different stage. And so, but then I had some interesting talks with a colleague of mine and she gave me some helpful advice, but also made me watch 2 videos of this German. Wait, I look at the name so I can actually say where I got this stuff from, not to, say stuff that then nobody can look up or relate or whatever or watch it. I'll put the 2 videos in the comments, but they're in German, so there might be subtitles. I don't know, but the guy is called Dieter Lange. He's a German, like.
That for those of you who don't speak German, we would say it like Dieter
Lange.
Lang, probably with an E at the end.
Yeah, but he's basically like a motivational coach, something like that, but also like some sort of a guru in terms of business life, successful life, happiness, and stuff like that, And he fills like arenas with his talks.
Mm-hmm. And it's like a motivational speaker.
Basically, yeah. But in a very grounded and, how should I say it? And,
thoughtful, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. Thoughtful is the right word. But also, I don't know, controversial, because he's not going the typical, like he's going
not
against,
like the standard
right,
go
right, he's going against
kind of
the Western way mainstream of success and work ethic. That's the word. So, and one of the first things he said, I told you that when we were walking, and that kind of stuck with me and made me think a lot, is that we here in the Western civilization, and I think also in China or Japan, where work is a very important thing.
I mean, our lives basically revolve around work.
Right. And what he said is that, when we ask our kids, or like they get asked in school, like, what do you want to be or what do you want to become when you grow up,
Mm-hmm.
And if you really think about the question, it basically means that you're at that point nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to become something to be something, which in itself is horrible, because you would never say to a kid, hey, you're nothing. You're worth nothing.
How would you maybe phrase that question differently? Because I don't think it's wrong to ask kids what they aspire to, but
right.
How do you think you could phrase that question to a child?
Good question.
In a different way.
Good question.
Maybe like, I don't know. Because asking them, you don't ask a kid what career do you want when you're older. Or like, what are your dreams maybe? Or what are your, but they wouldn't, I don't know, some kids wouldn't, dreams mean something different as a kid.
I think it's a hard question, but I think simply phrasing it a different way, because you could, I like become is, I think, better. Like werden, was willst du werden?
To me, that sounds the same, though.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard question. Maybe you shouldn't even ask that your kid, I mean,
your kids are going to tell you anyways what they want to do.
They see a fire truck and they're like, I want to be a firefighter.
Yeah. Or you can just consistently be interested in what they're interested in.
You can also
take an interest in the things that they
yeah, right. You can
are
also
interested in.
Yeah. But you can also say, you can do anything you want to do.
I mean, sure.
You can be a policeman. You can be a striptease dancer. You can be a drug dealer, I'm just
follow
talking
your
out of my
dreams,
ass.
kids.
Right. I don't know, but that stuck with me because that's a question you get asked a lot when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
And that follows up with a lot of things, especially when you're like a teenager.
However, I just want to quickly throw in,
I
think by saying that it's important to mention that we don't mean that parents who ask that question are intentionally
no.
saying that their kid means nothing, because obviously that's not the case. I think it's just important to, like, for example, I follow a lot of, on Instagram, I follow a lot of parenting pages, even though we don't have kids, because I'm super interested in how I when I was a nanny, I always tried to talk to children in a adult kind of way, but also in a thought-provoking way that made them really
hey,
think.
You fucking asshole, give me a beer.
No,
bitch.
but I mean, like when they were experiencing certain emotions and they were having like some sort of temper tantrum, I would never get mad at them for having a temper tantrum or annoyed. I would try to help them understand their emotions, because you have to realize kids don't, I know this is off topic, but I will come back to it. Kids don't know when they're feeling certain things, they don't have the tools yet to express those emotions. And so for me, it's important to tell kids it's okay to express it any way you want, as long as you don't hurt somebody else. And I always would say, like, to one of the girls, you can do what you need to do. You can go into this space, this corner or the other room, scream, cry, anything you want. And when you feel a little better, you can come back and we can talk about it. And I think that's why I follow these things on Instagram, because it shows you different ways to approach certain situations with kids. And how I'm bringing it back now is that I would love to see more things like that in terms of how to talk to your kids about the future and what they aspire to, without making them feel like that's the only thing to look forward to.
Right. And with that goes to say that the power of words is proven to, even if it's not intentional, even if it's not consciously, maybe subconsciously, the kid, gets worked up because of exactly that. And that brings me to the next thing is like, okay, if you think about, that's also what he said, Dieter Lange, if you think about two parents walking with a toddler or a smaller kid and going somewhere, like going to meet a family member or just going for a walk or something, usually they have to drag the kid because the kid is slow, it sees things, it wants to stop all the time. There are ducks, there are birds, whatever, And the answer usually is, hey, come on, we have to go there, or we have to be there at this time, blah, 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 blah. And he basically broke it down to what does that tell the kid? Okay, it's not important to be here right now, even though it might be a nice wood or like lakeside or whatever. But it's important to be there. So in the future. So the important thing is in the future.
Where we're going is more important than where we are.
And if you bring that to like working ethics and success and stuff like that, it seems like, okay, you reach for something which is important, and that is the goal. So the goal is to, gain this client, for example, or finish this massive project, stuff like that, or even make like a 500K a year, stuff like that. You can set this goal, but then once you reach that goal, there's another goal. So you always work for the future. You always work towards something, which is in it not bad, but at the same time,
it is good to have goals and to have, things you want to, goals, things you want to achieve.
But you forget what's important, and the important thing is the path there, because that's what you're spending your time with. And if you're miserable doing that, what's the point of doing it at all? Yeah, sure, it might bring you a ton of money, but are you happy? By working so hard, working so much, you might have lost your family, your friends, kids, your health, your sanity. And that made me think, that you should not work for money. Obviously, you should make money by doing what you're doing, but you should not work because of money, because that won't bring you anything. It will bring you money, maybe more money that you need to have, but ultimately it won't bring you happiness because you're spending all your time doing stuff that you're not happy.
Yeah. Granted, again, there are situations where that can be a tricky subject, because we've talked about this before. In Europe, we have much more advantages in terms of healthcare, in terms of
sure.
Just help that we get from the government automatically. And in the US, it's not that way, where everything is expensive and everything's going up with inflation. Same here. But the difference is that the healthcare system, these people are paying for healthcare that they can't afford, medications they can't afford, on very low salaries because minimum wage is a freaking joke. So, in some cases it's hard to say you can't work only for the money. I mean, I do believe that you should always enjoy your job. I think that is, especially like in those circumstances, working in the US, you should strive to at least find a job that you love.
Right.
Because if you don't love it, then you really are just working to work because you need the money. Right. But why not then try to get the money that you need by doing something you love?
Right. And obviously,
because then work doesn't have to be your whole life.
And obviously that goes to say that, you are not loving your work all the time, which is good, because if you would love your work every day and it would never suck, that's not possible. And then you would not even, you would take it for granted at some point because you don't know how it would be if it would suck. The need to be phases and days where work sucks, maybe because you are not feeling well, you don't want to go there. Maybe you have a coworker that's, is annoying.
But I will say it makes such a huge difference. I mean, working somewhere that you love working, as someone who, I think everyone has experienced the feeling of, I really like waking up and just feeling, I really don't want to go to work today.
Yeah, sure.
I think everyone has experienced that. And there are even people, myself included, in the past who have, faked sick to get out of work because I just didn't want to go. But when you find something that you really love, I have been, for example, working where I work for almost 2 years now. Not one day in those 2 years have I had a day where I'm like, fuck, I really don't want to work today. Like, I have not once had that feeling. I have not once had the feeling.
I remember one day where they said, you really don't want to go to work today. But I don't remember why.
Yeah, but not to the extent where I would consider calling and saying, I don't want to do it. I'm always happy to be there. Like, I'm always, even when it's stressful, even when I have not the best day.
I mean, that's a good sign for exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. And I think if you can find something like that, so work towards not figuring out what you want to do with your life, just figure out what you're interested in right now. What is something that you feel like is sustainable for your life, but that you also love doing, that brings you passion, that brings you joy? Because those are the kinds of things that you should invest your time into.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about, am I going to be in this career in 10 years? I mean, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Not in these days. But that's a good point, because I believe strongly, and that's why I started my business, is if you love something, the money will come automatically. And it has been proven for a lot of people. And it, like, if you look at, a lot of people say, I was so lucky, or I was so fortunate to get that job, or whatever, But luck in the end is just basically opportunity meets, what is it? Opportunity meets your Können, your skills. So it's at the right time, at the right moment. So you meet someone, or you're at a meeting, or you get a call or an email or whatever, and everything aligns, and that's what luck is.
Yeah.
But that's exactly, if you have something like a skill or like a passion or something like that, you will find money on the way. You will make money because people will pay you, because they see, oh, that person knows what they are talking about. Let's maybe take a quick break.
Okay.
The person I most like to be analytical and self-deprecating with is my sister. She can take it. She tells me to reframe. Everyone could benefit from a conversation with her. She's who I go to when I need to dissect the hard topics that I wake up obsessing about. I'll ask tons of questions and she'll sister us through via text or wine or coffee. All useful vices, since the Davy sisters are a strong cup of coffee. So come here if you can relate or need some sistering yourself. There'll be lots of laughter and a whole lot of reframing as we work our way through some of life's big and small stuff together.
Do you need to relax? All of us experience anxiety, stress, or sleep difficulties from time to time. Relaxation can help. For progressive muscle relaxation, visualization, meditation, and more, subscribe to Relaxation Audio with Candy wherever you get podcasts, or visit relaxation-audio.com.
And we're back.
Let's maybe go back to like success.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we look at like Western civilizations, usually success means being like a boss or a CEO or something. That's like
not necessarily. I would, when we were, Woifi and I talked about this a little bit when we were walking earlier, and to me, if someone says the word success,
not but like the general meaning.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
I'm just saying, to me, when I hear that word, this is what I think of, and I think that that's common for most people. When we hear the word success, I think our brains, almost for everybody, automatically go to money.
Yep.
And business. So whether that business is, it doesn't mean like business, but just business in terms of jobs, what your work is.
Good position, high paid job. Yeah.
Or just you're so good at your job that you're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But that's typically where the brain automatically goes.
Yeah.
And that's sad if you think about it.
Right.
Because why can't success be, I mean, and it is. That's not the definition of success, business and money and blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can be successful because you have a family and you are raising children, or you're just happy in your life and that's successful. Or you start your own business and maybe it's not running super well, or maybe it's not, you're not making a ton of money, but you successfully started your own business. I mean, or you studied something and you successfully finished studying and got a degree or a certification or something.
Even if you're not needing it or something, No, I agree.
It also it doesn't have to do with work at all.
Success is always bound to being wealthy, having power, money, stuff like that, which is sad because all those things don't give you happiness, which is a big misconception because people believe still like, hey, even though there's so much transparency already online and you can see YouTube videos of people who are having a shit ton of money and who are not automatically happy, but people still believe that being wealthy and having money and don't have to worry about money makes you happy. But no, it just shifts your problems.
Or having 2 million followers on TikTok or Instagram.
It just shifts your problems. So you might not have to worry about paying your bills anymore, which is nice. But there's still other problems, And that brings me to the next point. Like, if someone works so hard, like a lot of people preach it, you have to work hard, you have to work constantly, you have to be the guy
to make something of yourself. You have to,
but you have to be the person that leaves the office the last and comes in the first, and all that stuff. Where you basically work yourself to death. I have heard multiple stories before from like people who ran like an agencies and stuff like that, where it's super stressful all the time and they got sick with 40, 50 with some super rare cancer or stuff like that. And I mean it's not surprising if you power yourself out so much constantly at some point your body tells you, hey, it's enough. And if you keep going still, you will get sick 100%. Sure, there's like, there might be a 1% of people who can sustain that, but maybe then they die much sooner.
Yeah.
And what brings you that if you would be able to retire, but then you die?
Mm-hmm.
And
what
so,
does all that wealth bring you? What does all the,
right,
you know, if you don't do anything with it, if it sits there, if you have this massive mansion or something,
right,
and you're the only one living there, or it's you and one other
right,
person, I mean, what's the point of that?
right. And as I already said, with the up and down, you know, life is an up and down, and everything has a second side to it, you know, and usually we only see one side. So if we see like Elon Musk, for example, we see, oh, wow, he just bought Twitter with I don't know how much money, and he owns that company, and he has so much money, you know. But at the same time, you don't see maybe his health problems, maybe and that goes to like with all the stuff that we know from his relationships, he can't sustain a relationship.
Also, imagine in his position how much fucking stress that person has on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah,
because there are so many things that they're responsible for, and so many things that are, you know, the name is so well known that he constantly has to like watch what he says, watch what he does, you know, one wrong thing and you get canceled. So it's just, I mean, there's a lot of stressors in a position like that.
Right. And that's just one thing. So there's a lot of things that we don't see. But then if you turn it around, like if you see a person who just got fired from this massive position or got laid off because the company closed, whatever, you know, you don't see the ups there, because you feel bad for the person. You're like, oh man, they lost their job and now they are, you know, jobless, have to look for a new one. But at the same time, maybe they have more time now for the family. They can finally recharge. They can finally, I don't know, have time for their children again or something like that, you know? Sure, there's still this negative thing of being laid off or finding a new job, but at the same time, I think it's also an opportunity to maybe look for something that is more sustainable for yourself. And that brings me to the last thing, I think, and we already said it, success should not be something that is based on your income, on your wealth, on your money, but should be about how you manage your down and up time, basically. So if you think about like a cat, for example, if a cat hunts, it hunts 100%, but then it lays down, and what does it do? It sleeps 100%. And it might sleep for 6, 7, or even 12 hours. But once it's up again, it hunts 100%, like if I'm talking about a wildcat. And what are we doing? We are up all the time. There are people who preach, oh, I only sleep 4 hours a night and work constantly. That's not sustainable.
And not even that. I mean, even just sleeping, waking up, going to work, coming home late, eating something and sleeping again, that's not a life.
No. And that kills you. That 100% kills you, because we need downtime. We need it for our bodies and for our minds. And I think that is success. If you find a balance with that, where you can give yourself the downtime, have a job that you like or love, and have a happy life with that. It doesn't matter how much money you make.
Have a personal life. Have a life that's outside of work.
Right. You should have time for your children, for your family, for your friends. You shouldn't...
For yourself.
Right. For yourself. You shouldn't juggle those things and say, oh, I only have 1 hour this week. What do I do? Or with whom do I spend it? And
honestly, success looks different for everybody.
Obviously.
And your definition of success might be different. Success might be different than somebody else's definition of success. And that's okay. But I think it's important to, if your definition of success is wealth and power and has everything to do with your work life, then I urge you to take some time and just think about why that is. Think about what you might be missing out on, or if you're taking away certain things from yourself in terms of your well-being and what you want outside of your work life, what you want for yourself.
I agree.
And for your personal life, and maybe try to redefine what success is for you.
Right. That's the point. Maybe not all of us, but some of us, or most of us, probably need to redefine what success means. Because ultimately, what really matters is if you're happy. Because if you're happy, you live usually a sustainable and happy life. And you have friends, family around you that support you and that make you happy. Happiness doesn't come from nothing.
And I think it's also important to add, if anybody is listening who is currently studying or trying to figure out what they want to study, or, you know, career changing, whatever it is, I think from a young age, kind of what we talked about in the beginning, when people are constantly asking you as a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? It does instill, even in high school, you know, the goal of school before college seems to always be you want to have a good career. So you're learning all of these things so you can get into a good college, so you can get a degree, so you can work, blah, blah, blah. It's not about the experience of school. It's not about what do you enjoy. It is about do everything well, do everything right, which is an impossible standard to meet. And at least in the US, I can only speak for that. But
it's the same here. But
I
just to add quickly, the school system that are in place right now in most countries are built exactly on that. Which is stupid.
They're career-based.
They're career-based. They're totally
which is
career-based.
so silly.
It is not about who you are as a person,
Right.
your interests, and your strong suits. It's all about what you want to be, and that's the goal.
Yeah.
And you should know it as soon as possible.
But also,
and if you don't know it, you're a loser.
Every single subject in school you have to do well in. If you don't pass a subject in school, you have to take it again until you pass it. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
And you're graded by that. You're valued as a person by, oh, this person has only like Fs or 5s here and is a bad person by that. No, it doesn't. But it's,
or they're
but let's
stupid
not go into
or
the
whatever.
school
Maybe that's
system.
another episode for another day.
That's a big,
But my point is that we're kind of being modeled as young people to figure out what we want to do so early. I mean, if you think about when you end high school, you're 17, 18 years old, and you're expected to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. At 18, that's fucking nuts. So if you're struggling, if you're still trying to figure it out, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, which is another topic for another day. But I think a lot of people feel this pressure. A lot of young people feel pressure to have some fancy job title, like I'm going to be a doctor or I'm going to be a psychologist or I'm going to be, you know, something that sounds good.
Yeah, lead designer.
So when
CEO,
people say,
whatever.
what are you studying? You want to have a cool answer for them or like a prestigious title. But you know what? Fuck that. Because I tried to go that route purely because I wanted people to be impressed with what I was studying, not because I actually wanted to do it. And thank God I figured it out eventually. But it doesn't matter what you do. It matters that you love what you do. And how you get there, how long it takes you to get there, it doesn't matter. Follow your own path in your own time and enjoy the entire way there.
Yeah.
And don't focus your entire life around it.
Again, I believe strongly that if you do what you love and if you're passionate what you do, money and success will follow like 100%. I believe in that. And in my couple of years now with my business, it has shown me that, because I didn't really put out much advertisement or whatever, it showed me that that's true. And so many people can tell you the same.
And again, success doesn't have to do anything with your job.
Right.
It can be about your life. It can be about your achievements as a human being for yourself. And just getting through every single day is a success in itself. So
I agree.
Be proud of where you are in the moment. It's okay to have goals. It's good to have goals, but don't focus so much on the goals that you forget to be in the present.
Yeah. Before we end the episode, we want to shout out to Martin, who is a listener, an avid listener. What? Why are you looking at me?
I'm not looking at you anyway.
Oh, but you don't want to shout out Martin?
You're shouting out.
You don't want to shout out Martin?
Shout out. But finish your sentence.
Yeah.
You were mid-sentence.
I just like he still listens, and we really appreciate it. And
we do.
Every time we see him, he tells us that he likes to listen when he goes to work.
And that it's improving his English, and
right.
That's also very special.
And we very much appreciate that.
We do. He's a long-time listener.
Yeah. So have a great day wherever you are right now.
And watch out for deer.
Watch out for deer. To all of you, please subscribe wherever you find podcasts. Rate the podcast. You can do that on Spotify now and Apple Podcast.
Every time you say that, I think of the Little Britain skit where he's like, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
And yeah, if you have any question or you want to talk to us, hit us up on our Instagram or website. And other than that, that's it.
That's it.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Watch out for deer.